I would like if you can explain Rastafarian for me. Thanks. There's a scroll on our website on the connect page, right, which is called Is Haile Selassie the Christ? When you click on the image, it will open up so you can actually read it. And this book, the master teacher put out in the late 80s, early 90s. And it answers the question of what's Rastafarians. Now, you have different types of Rastas. And like with religion, in Christianity, Islam, Judaism, you always have those who try to practice and live, a wholesome life, live healthily. They're like, vegans. They use herbs as in not the smoking herbs, but they actually practice they practice being cultural, living with nature. They're in the mountains, etc. Right? So you always have those who do the right thing, and then you have those who kind of just like wear locks or dreadlocks, and they're not really, practicing. They say, the ones where they say they don't eat pork, but then they go out or sleep with people that eat pork, and it's like you're taking that in anyway because you're exchanging bodily fluids. But yeah, a slight joke, but still. Okay, let's talk about, because Haile Selassie is really where they call him he was an emperor. So let me answer. It starts off with saying, I'm just jumping to page 4. It says, was Selassie the king of Ethiopia? Answer, yes, he was the emperor of Ethiopia, but that's all he was. He was not a worldwide influence, and he was not a spiritual influence. He was not a Messiah or the son of Yahweh, which has been mistranslated to mean the son of God. He was also not a religious man, thus he wasn't a religious influence. However, he was known to be a tyrant and a betrayer. If you read his history, you will see he was an ordinary lawyer and a strategist. And since you use quotes that apply to Jesus, who you also say is God, and pretend as if they are talking about his imperial majesty, means that you apparently think he is Jesus. So do you mean to tell me that God comes down to earth, or Jesus returns to earth and becomes a lawyer? Come on. And then has to get educated by Europeans in order to carry out his divine mission on earth as a savior, not in right wisdom. But for those of you who want to remain under the spell of Kingu, Leviathan, and these spook-filled religions of mythology, and for those of you who want to wish upon a star and look forward to going to some garden beyond the stars, and as for those of you men who don't want to take on the responsibilities as the Elohim or gods or Natharu nowadays, but want to depend on apparitions and spirits and spooks and goblins that are to come out of the sky and save you, so that you do not have to take on the responsibilities given to you by your fathers, the Natharu. Basically, in this old school, he was obviously teaching us the Anunnaki stories, and every school we went through, we were submerged in it. As the caretakers of this planet Earth and the rulers of the same, just continue listening to these religious leaders and their illogical reasoning. For this spell to be removed from people, we must first make up our minds to give back religion. So you Hindus can take your religion back, you Christians can have your religion back, you Muslims and Jews can have your religion back, and you Rastafarians, right, can have your religion back. It is time for you to link back into your ancestors as written on the walls in the Great Pyramids and written in the Sumerian tablets called the Enuma Elish, the Atana, and the Atrahasis, to name a few, where you can see yourself. Don't link yourself to a religion, be it Copticism, because people talk about the Coptics, or whatever, given by the popes, pastors, preachers, monsignors, and the cardinals, who all are a part of the plot. All right, so it says, just who was Haile Selassie? Haile Selassie received a Western education at a French Catholic mission in Harar, Ethiopia. In 1910 AD, at the age of 18, Haile Selassie was appointed governor of Sidama, a city in Ethiopia. In 1912 AD, before he became 20 years old, he was the governor of Harar, Muleta, and Salih. In 1928 AD, at the age of 36, he became king of Showa, and in 1930 AD, at the age of 38, he was crowned emperor of Ethiopia. Okay? As you can see, Haile Selassie was not born a ruler. He worked his way up. However, Ethiopia is not the whole world, just one small place. You mean to tell me that your God has to go through all of these different levels and experiences just to eventually become the ruler of Ethiopia at the age of 38? If he was God, shouldn't he have been able to become the ruler? And if he was just the governor of a country, then that means that he had to be appointed by someone who is higher than him, someone higher than God. According to you, God is the supreme and the highest. You told me, what kind of sense does that make? I suggest you get your stories and facts straight before you go labeling your leader God or making the implication that he is Christ. Wasn't Haile born in Jerusalem, which is one of the reasons why it is believed that he is Jesus Christ? Answer: Haile Selassie was born in Harar province, Ethiopia, not in Jerusalem. I repeat, he was born. He did not come down as Jesus went up. Haile had a beginning of days when he was born, July the 23rd, 1892 AD, and an end of days when he died, August the 27th, 1975 AD. He was the nephew of Menelik II. Menelik II took on this name centuries after Menelik I. After Menelik II's death in 1913 AD, Haile Selassie, along with Menelik II's daughter, Weziro Zodito, succeeded his reign. Okay? And Menelik II's grandson, Lineage Yasu, had succeeded him first before Selassie and Zodutu, but he, Lineage Yasu, was deposed from the throne. Right, this is going into your question. Haile Selassie's father was Rast Mokennen, right? World Mikhail, who was Menelik's chief diplomat and soldier, who took care of his horses, his Clydesdale royal fleet. Rast Mokennen's mother was Wezaro Tanei, if I'm pronouncing it properly, work. And she was the daughter of Selassie. Selassie's mother was Wazero, that's Wayzaro, Yashimabet Ihita Miriam. She died in 1894 AD when he was 2 years old. He had 10 brothers and sisters who died during childhood. A boating accident. He was the only one saved. When Selassie was 15 years old in 1907 AD, his father died, and shortly afterwards his guardian, Ras Tasma, was poisoned. Question: if Haile Selassie is of the line of the Prophet Solomon, where did the name Haile Selassie come from? Answer: Haile Selassie is an Amharic name, not an Arabic Hebrew name. You can't tell me that a change of names was a result of the migration of Solomon's seed away from the holy city called Jerusalem, whose ancient name is Kadesh. He should still have had a Hebrew name. If Haile Selassie is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, then somewhere along the line his name should be Bar Yahuda or Judah, and not Rastafari, son of Ras Mokhenan and Wezaro Yashimabet. His name should have Judah, and it should reflect the name Yahuda or Judah, because it says in Ecclesiastes 7 verse 1, and I quote, "A good name is better than a precious ointment." So to identify who he is, the Lion of the tribe of Judah cannot be born with a name like Robert. He has to be given a name unbeknown to him and unbeknown to the people that would name him. He'd be given a sacred name that would identify him. Therefore, his name would have been David, by Yishe or Jesse. Psalm 89, 20-21, Jeremiah 39, Isaiah 11:1, which means beloved son of the existing Yahuwah. There was a Yeshua bar Joseph, or Jesus, son of Joseph, 2,000 years ago, meaning Savior, son of Jesus. However, to the Hebrews, the Messiah has not yet come, and based on the above reference quotes, when he comes, his name will be HaMashiach, David bar Yisha, and not Haile Selassie. And there's a scroll that the master wrote years ago called The Real Messiah, scroll number 34, and Fake God's False Christ, scroll 105. I have both of those. Question: well, if Haile descended from the tribe of Israel, shouldn't his name or the name of his forefathers be in the Bible? Answer: yes. However, it is not. This is how you know that the story of Haile Selassie's life was made up by some poor, delusioned Negroes who want to be important, or at least have their leader look strong and important enough so they can look good and say our leader was the great Haile Selassie, who was the elect of Yah, or comes out as Jah, the emperor of Ethiopia, when your great leader has not published or produced one piece of literature for the upliftment of the people. As far as the name Menelik is concerned, Menelik as well as Haile cannot be found in the Torah, known as the 5 Scrolls of Moses. Most of the names of the families of Israel in the era of the scroll of Zechariah on down came out of the old scrolls. For instance, the name Joshua, even down to Jesus, and even when they said Yahshua, which is nothing but another form of Yehoshua, Joshua, was used. Then Jesus' adopted father's name, Yosef, Arabic Yusuf, English Joseph, and his mother's name, Maryam, Arabic Maryam, was used also. That's like accepting the name Jew for Judah or Judea, and then say any Khazar from Russia who converts to the Ashkenazim sect, or any Spaniard from Spain who converts to the Sephardim sect and declares themselves the original Hebrews or original Israelites or original tribe of Judah, just because of their conversion and creation of the name Jew has the right. That's wrong. All right, let me see if I'm going to skip and go. So I'm going to skip a bit because I want to spend a lot of time on this, but you can read it on our website for free. Haile Selassie can't prove his own descendancy, nor can you. I can. Question: the names Haile nor Menelik can be found in the scriptures, but the name Ras can, which is a part of his father's name. Doesn't this prove his lineage? 18, that goes on to page 19. Answer: the name Ras can be found in the scriptures, but it's Rosh, which was the name of one of Benjamin's son, who was of the children of Israel. Rosh can be in Genesis 46 verse 21, and I quote, "And the sons Benjamin were Bela and Bercha and Ashbel, Jira, Naaman, Ehi, and Rosh, Mopin and Hupim, and Ard." Rosh means head and comes from the root word Roshi, meaning head or chief priest. There is also a seed for Shua that can be found in Ezekiel 23:23, and I quote, "The Babylonians and all the Chaldeans, Pekod and Shua and Koa, and all the Assyrians with them." Shua means rich from the root word shorva, which means to cry out, shout, and even Amhar can be found. But Amhar cannot be found verbatim in the Torah. It is found in writings about the Torah, such as the ancient Sumerian tablets, the Enuma Elish, and the Gilgamesh epics. And he's got a whole family tree here, with Rosh or Ras at the top, with the wives. And then it goes on to the sons, and all the way to where he's got Amhara, from whom the dialect called Amharic or Giz came from. So you claim Haile Selassie came from Rosh, Ras, in Aramic Hebrew, meaning head, and his fourth wife, whose name was Shoah. However, Ras' third wife, Abyssinia, had a fifth son named Amhara, and this is where the Amharic dialect originated from. That means that Shoah's son and Amhara were living together during the time that Amharic was developing. If this is the case, what were they speaking before Amharic? And since everyone was speaking Amharic, that means that everyone, including Shoah's son, was under Amhar, just like during Aram's time when everyone spoke Aramic Hebrew, or during Akkad time when everyone spoke Akkadian or Phoenician, refer to what is God's language. That's scroll number 96. So when you make a statement like Haile Selassie is a descendant of David, show me name for name. He begot him and he begot him. The same way it's done in the scriptures in which you follow, called the Bible. The same way that we make statements out of Sudan that we are direct descendants from the Mahdi and Fatima to Hassan and to Salihah, to Fatima and Ali, to Muhammad and Khadijah, to Kida and Rehana, to Ishmael and Fatima, to Abraham and Hagar, to Noah and Naamah, to Adam and Eve. We give name for name, husband and wife, generation after generation after generation. If you are authentic, then do the same thing. Give me some names that start from Haile Selassie and give his father's son, all the way back to Menelik I, and then from Menelik I straight back to David. Of course, you won't be able to because you don't know how. Then it shows a picture of Jesse, son of Jesse, David, etc. Right? So I'm saying to say to you that this whole scroll goes into the details of where Rastafarianism was born, and then they tie it into the coronation of the Queen and claiming the Queen bowed down to him, and but the thing is that when you read this scroll, it goes into so much detail that it's fine. And this is what religious people do. They put somebody on a pedestal and they try to relate incidences and things to say this is what makes that person who they are, even if the person themselves don't claim to be that. And a religion is born out of that. It is just so simple to build and make up a religion and get people to follow you. I mean, the amount of times we get questions that people are calling us saying, I had this dream, can you explain it for me? And we always say, look, we can't explain your dream, but it would be so easy for us, because this is what happens with people that start to, charge money, and they start being what you call, in the Bible, they refer to them as sorcerers, You know, people that people that basically say they can read your dreams, read your palms, do all of these things. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying people don't have certain gifts, but it opens up a situation where people are claiming things that don't actually belong to them. You know, he never actually really liked the Rastafarians. Even when he went to Jamaica, he never wore locks. He kind of shunned them. And yet, you know, they build him up to be conquering Lion of Judah, King of Kings, and all this stuff where he never ever, you know, subscribed to that. Okay, yeah, let me read this bit on page 58 because I'm jumping just to get to other questions. So it says in the scriptures, when it speaks in reference to hair, it uses the word locks, right? This is in Ezekiel 44:20. This is in terms of the locks and the Rastafarianism wearing the dreads, right? 44:20, Numbers 6:5. Many people, especially those who were influenced by Bob Marley, assume that the word locks means letting your hair lock by itself. They call it dreadlocks. The word dread is not found in the scriptures, but the word locks is. A claim of one Rastafarian is that the name dreadlocks does not mean that the hairstyle itself is it's dreaded. It means it is a hairstyle that symbolizes the dread felt by the Caucasian race or the fear they have of the dreaded Rastaman or dreadmen. Right, so what about the Rastafarians who call themselves Nazarites? There's a group of Rastafarians who think they are Nazarites. Let me tell you right now that they are not. The Nazarites were dedicated to the service of the Most High. In no way can Nazarites be compared to present-day groups who do not cut their hair. The Nazarites followed such laws like abstaining from strong drink, not mooring the corners of their beards, etc. There are two groups of Rastafarians. One group is known for the amount of marijuana, also called ganja, or reefer that they smoke. The other group, who are considered the real Rastafarians, this is what I was saying at the beginning, live in the mountains and practice a pure way of life. They refer to these who sell drugs and smoke marijuana and hashish as rascals. The Rastafarians use Ezekiel 44:20 to justify their wearing dreadlocks, and I quote, "Neither shall they shave their heads, not suffer their locks to grow long. They shall only poll their heads." The Hebrew word in this quote for poll is the root word kacham, which means to cut, clip, to trim, to shear. This is in reference to keeping the excess hair growth neat and intact. The scriptures state you should not shave the beard, yet it is law to. The above quote says to keep the edges trimmed, polled, mishwak, which is the Hebrew word for maud, meaning disfigurement or the face, corruption, from the root word shochath, meaning to destroy, to corrupt, or be mauled. In addition to polling the hair, the quote states not to suffer the locks to grow long. Suffer means to endure or tolerate. The scriptures again confirm that the locks should not be allowed to grow long, extreme, in excess. They also use the quote Numbers 6:5 and Leviticus 21:5 to justify wearing dreadlocks. When you base the wearing of your dreadlocks on the scriptures, you should seek a clearer understanding, because the locks mentioned in the scriptures was something totally different and has nothing to do with dreads. If you choose to wear dreadlocks in your hair, it's your business. However, when you try to use the scriptures to try and justify your beliefs and misguide innocent souls while doing this, that's when I have a problem with it. So there is no proof in the scriptures that Rastafarians are Nazarites, and no, Nazarites did not wear dreadlocks in their hair. Haile Selassie didn't even wear dreadlocks. Is it possible to combine customs or ceremonies of Christianity with Hebraic customs or ceremonies. It is said that Haile Selassie's coronation in 1930 AD, this is what I was talking about before, which was held in the Cathedral of St. George in Addis Ababa, was a Hebraic Christian ceremony. There is no such thing. The original Hebrews do not hold Hebraic Christian ceremonies. The original Hebrews do not and never have believed in Jesus Christ as the Messiah. Haile Selassie was a Christian, a Coptic Christian, not a Hebrew. And there's a picture of him. Notice the cross of the church in his hand. The picture below proves it. Notice the cross in his hand. The name of that cross is the Coptic cross. You know, and it goes on and on and on and on, explains and breaks down why this, you know, Rastafarianism and what, you know, people are following today is not, it's made, a lot of it is made up, just like other religions. But I would suggest anyone who's interested in learning about, you know, the whole Rastafarianism and Rastafarian movement and Haile Selassie to read this scroll. Goes into a great detail. I could read all of it, but I'm not going to, because we want to get back to the questions in the chat. But I hope that helped.